Are you guys trying this exercise to solve your low back pain, but you feel like you're not really getting anywhere? Are you feeling pain here or here? Well, we're going to cover an exercise variation of that same exercise today that actually might change your life. Your back might love you for it. I'm Sebastian, this is Don.
Hello.
We are the locally world-famous chiropractors in Costa Mesa, California. Yes, chiropractors sometimes are good at coaching exercise. We're going to do that today. And so we love coaching exercise for low back conditions, so we're going to get right in it. And the exercise that people typically do is this hip flexor stretch, right?
Absolutely. So show them your version, probably the version they're doing at home.
They're probably doing this.
Exactly.
Oh.
So I'm going to give you two modifications here because there's an outlier here that if we just make that simple modification, it may just be all you need. But you'll notice here what's happening at Sebastian's back is, yes, he's getting that incredible stretch in the front of the hip, but he's also compressing his low back here. And so we want to loosen the hips and mobilize the hips in this, but we want to take the spine out of it. So Sebastian, I want you to glute squeeze here, left one. Let that glute squeeze lean you into this movement. You probably won't go as far and then come out of it.
I don't go very far.
So instead of letting just gravity and momentum lean him and stretch him into this, we're letting the glute facilitate this movement instead. And so he's not getting that compression in the backside, probably just a lot more glute work. And the stretch that you get in the front of the hip isn't as broad, it's just a lot more localized in the front there.
Yeah, it feels like it's kind of right in here. I don't feel my back anymore.
Perfect. And then one other modification, if that one doesn't seem to work really well for you, is sometimes I'll use a wall, but we can also use a foam roll here. And we're going to get a little more belly work in this. So same exact movement we're doing. But before we start, let's start with that glute squeeze again and find a little small stretch in the front of the hip. And then I want you to push, try to drive the foam roll through the floor here. And once we feel stable, and we're doing this hard, try to lift this knee. And take a break. Good. Some people may not even be able to get that knee fully off, which is totally fine. Try to lift the heel only, or try to lift the toe only. We can work ourselves through this. But ultimately, sometimes this movement, it's not the stretch that's making you feel better or what we need, it's the mobilization of the hip. So we get belly wall working, we get glute working, and anytime we bring this one into flexion, that one is forced to go into even more extension. We're just finding better ways to mobilize this hip is what we're doing here. What do you feel?
I feel my belly, actually, my core quite a bit when I'm pushing down and I lift up, like it makes it so it's really hard to talk.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt my back at all. It just feels like effort in areas that I didn't expect when I was doing this one, right?
Yep. And so what if this exercise is making you worse at all?
Well, so if this is making you feel worse, there's a chance that you might still have, it might be too advanced for you. I guess I'll put it that way. This is a progression of the exercise that Don mentioned, but this isn't the starting point that we give everybody with low back pain. Sometimes just something like a hip flexor stretch is a little bit easier in the version that Don said, where you contract the glute and you drive movement through the hip socket. But something like this, people tend to sometimes lean forward on it because they're too weak. It was even hard for me. And doing this, I'm rounding my back. And so you might have something called a flexion intolerant back, which your back doesn't tolerate flexion, which could be a lot of different types of diagnosis that we can cover in things like our learning guide. So we have a lot of learning resources that you guys can get for a very affordable price, or even free sometimes. But if this exercise is too hard for you, maybe learning a little bit more about what's going on might be the first starting point.
Definitely. So take advantage of that free resource. It's there for you for a reason. We can also help you virtually or in person. So if you're just following a sheet with exercises right now, you just don't seem to be getting better, or you keep going through YouTube and just all these different YouTube videos of what to do for your low back pain, you don't know what's hurting or helping, reach out to us. Contact is below. We can work with you virtually. We can work with you in person. Whatever your preference is or where you are in the world, we're here for you.